Hey, do you remember how I said this? I remember
Medieval Resurrection
being a fun retelling of the original with some nice updated visuals. Yeah, I was only wrong about the fun bit. Oh boy, here we go. Medieval Resurrection is a miserable experience. Don't even say it, I went into the game with the best of intentions. I was ready for it to be either incredibly mediocre or better than the YouTube comments were making it out to be. I was prepared to be charmed again and experience this game, and by extension my childhood, through a different lens. What I was not ready for was to see my childhood pushed down to the curb and have its head smashed in by Sony with a giant freaking sledgehammer. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty bummed that I hate Resurrection. I gave it a month and 100%ed it to try and warm up to it. Hell, I was planning a third video in this series where I'd go piece by piece comparing the two games in order to give pros and cons to the two, but fuck it, that's not necessary anymore. This one is better in pretty much every way. Prepare to get learnt, kiddos, for I am going to tell you why this game is so bad. Actually, axe that. Did you watch the first video? No? Here it is, go watch it. Otherwise, you know the general plot. Flamboyant wizard resurrects things. You are one of these things. Now go kill wizard. Boom! Easy. Or at least I wish that's how it was. In addition to the general plot is Arab Nabby here, who serves to add a heaping bucket load of funnies into our diet, and literally nothing else. Like, I guess he's a genie or something? He's trapped in your head, and it's never fucking explained, not once. Oh, he does have a greater purpose, though. Let me show you.
Ah, a training room, eh? Nice decor. Early macabre.
Kill me!
That is a rune key, Dan. Place it in the claw of the rune gate and open sesame! Maybe at Cemetery Hill, which lies just beyond this graveyard.
And now, Sir Daniel Fortescue must recover 4 pieces of the MacGuffin, I guess. I really don't know what this game is anymore. I mean, the MacGuffin explains the Skeleton War at the end of the game, so that's one problem solved, I guess. Oh, there's like one big elephant in the room.
Dan's Crypt. The best place to go if you're looking for a dead Dan. Have we not met before? Sir Daniel Fortescue! I've done you once already. I never forget a corpse. It's that pesky Zarok. I'm up to my eye sockets in the ex-deceased.
But, aha! I see you are surprised I know your name. I have the power, you see. I commune with the tree spirits. I can see auras. I can see psychic imprints. I can see the label in the back of your armor. But wait, I also see a vision. You seek a mysterious lady to advise you on color therapy for the monovisual and teach you the meaning of leathery love.
Nobody ever shuts the fuck up. Seriously, every time you walk up to a fucking statue or a new character or even fucking birds, the game will throw quips at you for minutes on end and just none of them are funny. Yeah, humor is subjective, I get it, but if I were to cram a joke into every goddamn quarter sentence, it would be more annoying than it could ever be funny. And if it was just once or twice or fuck a handful of times, that would be fine. But it's the entire game. It's the loading screens. It's the gameplay itself. It's the fucking objectives inside the game. It was the statues that used to be funny, but now they're just fucking annoying. It just, Oh, and whose bright idea was it to repeat the same fucking lines over and over again when you go to the Hall of Heroes? If you 100% the game, you go to this place 20 times. So I ended up hearing the same 3 or 4 lines 5, 6 times each. It was ridiculous. Now imagine if I did the "it's time to stop" meme 20 times over the course of 10 hours. I think you'd get kinda sick of it. The original had its fair share of jokes and silliness too, and I would never describe it as a serious setting. But it was alright in that game because it didn't bombard you with levity every 2.5 seconds. Not to mention that the actual tone and setting of the game allowed for humor to flourish naturally. So basically what I'm trying to say is that the comedy in Resurrection feels fucking forced. Wow, I can't believe it took me 2.5 minutes to say that. Also, there was subtlety in the comedy of the original Medieval. So even if the comedy didn't suit you, it wouldn't be overt enough for you to even really notice. And even if you did notice, it would be over in like 2 seconds, and the game would move on and you can keep playing, unmolested until the bleak and oppressive atmosphere of the game required levity. Oh, there was a keyword there. I hope you fucking caught it because it's going to be on the test. Not only did Resurrection destroy the atmosphere the original had, but it also managed to butcher the level design worse than Sensible Women with My Feelings. The stages of Resurrection come in 3 distinct flavors: bright, linear, short. And they're all overly seasoned with boring. The stages are often carbon copies from the PS1 game, with level structures, objectives, music, etc. being lifted straight from their blocky counterparts. Which is fine, that's to be expected from a remake. What wasn't fine was stripping out all the fun. Part of the point of making a remake in the first place is to recapture what made the original special, adapt it into something new, and give it to a new audience. And while Resurrection certainly does the last 2 things, it completely loses whatever was special about Medieval. Part of the reason is that ever nebulous term, atmosphere. Y'all ready to take some notes? To help illustrate my point, let's take a level from the original and the PSP game and compare them against each other so I can demonstrate why atmosphere is so important. Or, for that matter, even what atmosphere is. Here we have the Pools of the Ancient Dead. This level was the final battleground between the armies of Galomir and Zarok, the Fabulous Wizard, and the dead walk once again. The original opens to the sounds of rain. The land is dark and foreboding. You take your first few steps forward, and the music kicks in. You see Death himself for the first and only time in the game. After some short conversation, he explains that you must traverse the ancient battlefield and collect the souls of the dead, alongside your typical level duties of killing everything and getting a chalice. The dead are mostly impervious to damage here. You must beat them back from whence they came. Your task is a difficult one, and is made more challenging because the platforming sucks. Yes, not only is the atmosphere oppressive and haunting, but the controls are going to fight you all the way through the level. I hope you're familiar with nailing frame and pixel perfect jumps that if they're off by a hair or a tip of a mouse's nose, you're going to fall and lose a whole lot of your health. The rain, enemies, NPCs, objectives, environments, setting, hell, even unintentionally the controls, all contribute to this feeling. This feeling is what I've always described atmosphere as being, and this level effectively gives off a menacing and impressive aura, turning a rather silly game into something potentially unnerving. It's hard to explain. I can give you a textbook definition of it, enroll you in an English class, and hope you might get something out of it. But lucky for me, it's pretty easy to spot an unfocused and messy level. The feeling these levels give off are often muddled and ineffective, like the PSP version of Potad. This PSP game got rid of the dark color palette for something a little bit more puke green and gray. The idea of the level is practically the same, but replace Souls of the Dead with Evangelion Death Robot. The level even has some of the same set pieces and the same way to exit, and I believe I chuckled once or twice at the jokes. I need to double check with my lawyer. So on paper this level is practically the same, with an added minigame, because of course. But there's not much else going on here. I've heard this music at a different level. These guys are way too easy to fight. Platforming actually works, and like every other level in Resurrection, it's just middling, unremarkable, and frankly boring. The whole tone is all over the place, and it should be comedic or darkly comedic, and this just doesn't feel like anything. It's like if you go to make a sandwich and you bite into it, and instead of any filler, there's just more bread. I'm gonna forget this level the moment I'm done with this bit, but the original, I remembered as a teenager. I remember it from years ago, and I still remember it. Is it the gameplay I remember? Sorta. But I think you know where I'm going with this. Atmosphere is a cherry on top of a finely crafted cake and helps push the player into complete immersion and helps make the level remarkable. Many games have tried to include atmosphere, and most just don't do it effectively. The ones that do pull it off, though, are leagues better than the ones that don't. In many ways, the PSP game lost the soul of Medieval, whether it be from the level design, the world building, or whatever gaming terms I can think of. It's a shame that with more money, they couldn't put more stuff into it. Oh wait, I'm sorry, that's actually not true. There are mini games now. Everyone's favorite pastime. I guess I might as well talk about the combat and the items now. Actually, okay. Here's a point in favor of the remake. Do you remember how I mentioned chalice rewards in the last game and how they got really shitty over time, especially the last one, which was literally just a health potion? Well, they fixed that here. Every reward is pretty substantial now. Gone be the way of getting gold or health potions, here be returning the way of the weapons you'll use once or twice and then forget they exist once you obtain the magic sword. Remember the axe? I still don't. At least this time around they give each weapon type a more varied moveset. So there could potentially be people who think the hero sword and shield is a good set to use, or maybe even the axe, who knows? I think you're crazy and don't exist, but who am I to judge thine item choices? I'm happy to report that they nerfed the fuck out of the crossbow. It's now kinda useless, as is every ranged weapon. The lightning's okay now, I guess. There's also a new ultimate weapon you can only obtain through hours and hours and hours of mini-games. Mini-games. I still died with this new ultimate weapon, which literally breaks the game, though. Half the time, yeah, I was an idiot. I jump into lakes. Things happen. Other times, though, well, I mean, watch. Look how much room there is between me and this vine. Look at this stupid fucking pumpkin. Look how fast my shield depletes. There's no fucking visual cue that I'm just gonna get wrecked by this stupid vine. You can't cut through these things. You can only, like, wave them out. And since their hitbox is so goddamn big, it's really hard to judge where you're supposed to fucking stand. And the fucking pumpkins can come and fucking bounce you to death. This is just one of many times that the game has some serious issues with iframes and hitboxes in general. You knew what iframes and hitboxes were before, man? Like, what happened to them? What happened to the hitboxes? Let's wrap up by talking about shit I actually kinda liked. It's mostly technical stuff. For starters, the game actually looks pretty good, graphically speaking. Models are pretty well detailed, animations are quite nice. Dan's animations still look good to this day. The lunge kinda sucks, but we can ignore that. Zoom zoom, bitches! Oh, and even better, the game runs at 60 FPS on the PSP, the PlayStation fucking Portable. This is practically unheard of on anything handheld, so shit. I don't really know how they did this, to be frank, because the game genuinely looks good on a real PSP, and still holds up in most areas when rendered on an emulator. It even loads pretty fast. I mean, this is the shit I'd want out of a remake. Or recoded, or remastered, or whatever. Make shit run good, I buy. Oh, and the camera angle has now been seated behind Dan, if you couldn't tell, so actually platforming works pretty good now. I mean, I do miss the semi-fixed camera angle from the original just because you could see more, but this does work better in practice. Also, some of the enemy designs are pretty good. I mean, look at these old pumpkins, aren't they adorable? And when you kill them, they sound like little anime girls. Cute. What haven't I talked about? All the bosses kind of suck. The ghost ship was actually a fun level. Honestly, I think that's it for me. I can go on and nitpick this game to death, but honestly, I'm sick of thinking about it, and sick of talking about it, and sick of writing about it. If you want to try Medieval, play the original. It's better in virtually every way. I mean, if you have a PSP and want to try it out, go for it, I guess. Don't pay more than $5 for it. I can't believe that took me however long this video is to say. Hey, thanks for watching. I am so happy to be done talking about Medieval. I want to talk about the sequel at some point, but don't expect it for at least a year, maybe 2, I don't fucking know. Maybe I'll be dead by the time I want to talk about it. I think I'm going to be talking about Monster Hunter World next. Don't hold me to it. Anime video is in the works. I know I said it was going to be the next video, last video, but, everyone was done talking about Devilman Crybaby, and I was like, what am I gonna do? Maybe I'll talk about Made in Abyss. I love Made in Abyss. It's kind of great. Everybody seems to love it too, and it seems to be relatively relevant. That's a sentence. If you like this dumb video, hit the like button. I don't know why you like it, but it does bring me great joy. If you want to see more stupid similar stuff, hit the sub button. I might hit like 100 subscribers within the next 60 years. I try and make videos at least once a month. I'm trying to get faster at it, but I have a job. It's hard to make stuff fast. If you want to see me make stuff fast, I guess you could give me money on Patreon. You could break my Patreon cherry. Think about that. Wouldn't you be so happy? I know I would be. Or just tell me in the comments how much of a e-begging scum fucker I am. I don't know. You do you. But anyways, yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See ya.